And now, it's time for Healing from Within with your host, Tony Valen.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Healing from Within. I'm your host, Tony Valen. You can contact me, Tony, at TonyValen.com, or visit our website, healingfromwithin.net. Joining us on today's show is Mary Jo McCallie. Mary Jo is an angel therapy practitioner and medium. She is certified by Doreen Virtue PhD. Mary Jo communicates with angels to receive divine guidance for all areas of life. Mary Jo is also a spiritual teacher and a healer. You can get more information about Mary Jo at www.angelstalk.com. Her website has a lot more information. Or you can like her, Angels Talk to You. Angels, the number 2, and the letter U. Mary Jo, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you so much. I'm glad to be here.
We are so glad that you came on to let us know all about angel healing. So let's go ahead and let's start out with a little description about you and what your gifts are.
Okay, me. I can go back to childhood. I'm from a very large German Catholic family, and large meaning 5 brothers and a couple of sisters.
Yeah.
And I was intuitive since I was a child. I kind of blocked it because it really wasn't safe. It wasn't okay in a really big very religious family. And they're also very scientific in my family. So, doctors, chemists, physicists, that kind of thing. And
wow.
Here I am.
Yeah. Awesome.
And here I am.
Well, good. Yeah, I also come from that kind of background. My family was very big and also very Catholic. And I was told that if I continued on that route, I was going to end up with the devil. But I'm sure you heard the same thing.
Yes, right along the same lines, yes. Although, got to give my dad credit, before he passed away, he actually got it. He actually understood, which is absolutely amazing for that whole era. So,
yeah.
Bless him, bless him, bless him.
Yeah. So how long have you been doing this?
Like I said, I've been intuitive since I was a kid, but I've been doing readings and healings for probably readings, not healings, but readings for probably 30 years. I used to do a little tarot and a little astrology, and those are viable tools. Those are fine. You do get information that way. So I'm not, but for me, the missing link was working with angels.
Right.
And I found that when I brought those in, everything changed for me. Everything changed.
Interesting. Now, knowing what I know about you, Mary Jo, does everyone have an angel or a team of angels?
Yes, everybody does. Everybody actually, we think of, and most of us have heard of guardian angels. But the fact is almost all of us have 2, and some of us have 3. And if you have more, it doesn't mean you're any better or worse than anybody else. It's just angels are energy, and there's different energies that you would need. And guardian angels are with you from your very first breath to your last breath. And then you have various and sundry archangels and other helper angels that are around you at all times, but you got to ask for help. And that's the biggest number 1 rule with angels. If you have to ask, and then trust, but you have to ask for help. They can't interfere unless you ask.
Oh, really?
So yes, it's surrounded with angels.
Wow. Now, you mentioned that certain people have more angels than others. Is there, I know you said that there is no rhyme or reason, but really why would more angels be with others than...
As far as guardian angels sign up to be with us before we're even born. They go and they are with Prime Source, who I happen to call God, but with the universal mind, and they say, okay, I'm going to sign up to be with this person. And they can be 2 different energies. That's guardian angels, okay? And they're with you, like I said, all your life. All of the other angels that are around to help us. There's a lot of underemployed angels. But I can tell when people come in to see me, many times if I see a lot of angels around them or feel a lot of angels around them, I know that they're already making contact with the angels on a regular basis because they're just sort of waiting in the wings. Oh, that wasn't meant to be a pun.
Right.
Yes. They're waiting in the wings just to be of assistance.
Wow. Yeah. So give me your process when someone comes in to you to do a session with you. How do you go about starting it? What happens during the session? What can people expect?
Yeah, that's a very good question because my sessions have morphed dramatically because at one point in time I asked the angels, okay, which one do you want me to do, healings, readings, or classes? And their answer was yes. And I went, which one?
All three.
Healings, readings, or classes? And they said, yes. And I went, all of them? Yes, you're really quick.
Wow.
And now my sessions, when someone comes in for a private session with me, is first we do a reading in which they can get information from the angels about steps that they can take, make everything better in their lives, be it their finances, their career, their relationships. But they can get all kind of advice with that. But it has become, within the last year, the angels are also having me finish sessions with doing chakra clearings or little mini healings on everybody. So I'm doing a combination of the two at this point. I used to do them totally separately, either a healing or a reading, but I do them together now. And again, that's because it's the guidance of the angels. I don't argue so much anymore.
Right. And so they're the ones that pretty much inspire you, and they know, and they tell you what is needed.
They tell me what I've got to do. Yeah, exactly.
Got it. And wow, that's really interesting. So when you see angels, do they look? When you see or feel them, do they look like everyone expects? I mean, are they like a person with wings, or how do you see them?
They can appear that way. They can appear that way because, let's face it, angels are not dead loved ones with feathered wings. They are energies that have been created by God to help us. But it's really hard for us to imagine connecting with an energy. So they will often appear, and I will envision them most of the time, as having pretty much human form. I rarely see a face, but a human form. And because it's much easier for us to connect to, someone that we can relate to and sit down and talk to about stuff. So, yes, they can appear in you, but you may not see them ever. They may just form as a mist. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of ways they come in.
Very interesting. Now, with the communications that you have with angels, it is sort of like, because I know that I've spoken to other people that are intuitive, and they seem to tell me that sometimes spirit will not let them sleep at night, that they're always talking to them, or angels. Do you have certain times, and do you have to tell the angels you need now and stop talking at this certain hour and let me rest, or how does that work?
That's actually a really, really good question, because I will hear that from my students. They're like, I'm not getting any sleep. And I said, have you asked? Remember that whole thing, you got to ask? I said, tell them they don't always get what humans need. You've got to say, I want totally recuperative sleep. I don't want to be taking care of all the rest of this stuff. I don't want to be downloaded with more information either. Just slow it down. Let me get recuperative sleep. For me, I am very, very clear that the only time I really want all this information is when I am in my space and I call them in. I don't want to be able to walk. I am not whatever her name is, the Long Island medium. I do not walk.
Teresa Caputo, yeah.
Yeah, there you go. That is not me. I do not do that. For me, that is an invasion of privacy. I don't. The only time that they will sometimes bring something up, they will let me see something if somebody at that exact time, if I can say something to them that will make them feel better, but it's never about bringing in a dead loved one. It could be just saying the right words where all of a sudden they're smiling and it makes them think and get them into a better place. Not like I'm invading their privacy of what they're going on.
Yeah, and I agree with you because I see Teresa Caputo as well. First of all, I agree with you 100% that it is very intrusive and evasive, and I feel that if you're going to do a reading for someone, you do have to ask their permission because that's very personal. And Yeah. So, I remember when I try to do that for someone, when you first start receiving and you get all excited and you want to show people what to do and what you can do, you do that, but then you upset people. So I learned the hard way that you cannot be doing that.
Exactly. And I did the same thing. It's like, what's the biggest difference between what I used to do and what I do now? I was in ego all the time when I gave readings.
Oh, yeah.
Psychic art. And I used to love to wow people. That was my thing. I would feel really... And then I started realizing that really wasn't helpful. Even if it was truthful, that really wasn't helpful for them. So now I always tap into divine guidance so that only what I get is going to be of service. Sometimes they'll tell me it's none of my business.
Oh, the angels or the people?
Yeah, the angels will literally tell me that's none of your business, and they don't need to know that right now. They just got 3 more steps that they have to take before any of that can happen.
Wow.
And you've already told
that's
them.
amazing.
So, yeah.
Now, I know that whenever I receive information, and you were talking about ego, and that's what brought that up with me. When I'm receiving something from ego, well, first of all, I feel like I have a little window over my head, like at a 45-degree angle, and if I'm getting information from that certain window, I know that I can trust that information. But if it's coming from anywhere else, I know that that's ego. How do you receive your information? Do you have a certain place that it comes from, or a vision? Or
I think the way you envision it is perfect. When I say a couple of prayers always before I do any healings or readings or classes, and when I do that, that makes this connection really strong. And I know, and the whole prayer of protection is the fact that nothing is allowed into the energy that isn't from God, that isn't from Source, and isn't in the highest and best interest of whoever I am with. Only what's coming in. So, it may be that loudmouth Joe, who was a loudmouth over here, is a loudmouth over there and thinks he knows it all. And it's very, very clear that the only information I'm getting is coming in through the angels.
Awesome, yeah. And let me ask your opinion on another thing. Not too long ago, me and my producer went to a metaphysical store, and I know that it was a store. They offered stuff on everything from Wiccans to pagans to psychics to whatever. Anyway, we walked in the store, and we were looking around, and this lady that was there, I can't even tell you. I don't know if you feel this, but she was scanning us. I could feel her scanning me and scanning my producer. I stopped her. I don't know how I did it. I just stopped it. But what do you think that means? What was she looking for when what did they scan for?
What did they scan for? Unfortunately, there are metaphysical shops that not everyone there is actually looking for your highest and best interest. They are scanning for competition. They are scanning. They're very afraid. Because everything is love or fear. If they're in fear, there's some of those places that are just in fear, and they're afraid you're going to take a position from them, or they want to know about you because they get your energy. Yeah. When you walk in, it's so strong. Your energy is so strong that they already get your energy.
Yeah. Wow. Well,
and it's like, oops.
Yeah. Everything that you're talking about, it's so funny because everything you're saying is exactly the way I feel and what I think. And you just mentioned one important thing. I think that everyone in life either is living life out of love or fear. Those are the two things. Wow, and I just when you said that,
that's the only two things that are really real: love and fear, and they can't coexist in the same place, in the same space and time. It's either love or it's fear. So if you're love, you're coming from God, Source, universal mind, whatever you want to call God, and if you're coming from fear, that's the lack of God being there. And every bad emotion comes from fear: the anger, the resentment. That's all fear-based. That's all fear-based.
Yeah. And I also know that you studied under Doreen Virtue, and I know who Doreen Virtue, but for our listeners out there, can you please let them know who Doreen Virtue is?
Doreen Virtue is the grande dame of everything angels. She's probably written 25 books and just about as many angel oracle cards. And she has all kinds of CDs and downloads. Doreen is, she came out, grew up metaphysically, but then she got her PhD and she was doing therapy. And then she found out when she was doing therapy that she did a lot better and had to take a lot less time of her patient's time when she called in the angels. And she's been amazing with angels. She doesn't do much work anymore. She does a couple of, she's really turned the reins over to her son, Charles. But Doreen, I met her years and years ago, and I knew as soon as I saw her that she was my next step. And so I went and I took, at that time, it was a full 5-day training for the angel therapy, and then you have to pass a bunch of tests and stuff. And the next year I took the last mediumship class that she gave. So it was, she's the real thing. She's an amazing woman. She's an amazing woman.
Now, did she travel to Tampa, or did you go to wherever she is?
Well, the first time I saw her, believe it or not, was at St. Pete Unity Church.
Oh, really?
And and that's when I knew I had to see her again. So then I went with a girlfriend to the I Can Do It, and at that time the I Can Do It through was in Las Vegas. So I went to Las Vegas, and as soon as I took her class, I went, yep, she's the missing, and I knew immediately she was the missing puzzle piece. I knew that that's what my last thing was that I needed to do, because I had a lot of abilities, but I needed to get that fine tuning, that the thing of really being of service. This is why I'm doing it, only to be of service.
Oh, yeah. And I just want to, again, let everyone know that this is Tony Valen, host of Healing From Within. You can follow our show, healingfromwithin.net, or directly contact me, tony@tonyvalen.com. And we are joined by our guest, Mary Jo McCallie. You can visit Mary Jo at www.angelstalk.com, and her website has a lot more information that I could even begin to tell you. She has a lot of information, and you guys need to check out her website. Mary Jo, in doing the research about you, I saw that you went on a South American expedition to meet and work with shamans in the Andes Mountains and the Amazon rainforest. Can you tell us a little about your experience?
Yeah, that was an amazing experience. Again, it was one of those times I went with a group that had already been down. I would never have taken the kind of trip that I did. A man by the name of John Perkins had worked down. We went and we stayed with headhunters or previous headhunters in the Amazon, and would never do the thing, go to a place like that or do it without having the safety of somebody that really knew the whole tribe, etc. And it was an amazing experience in both places, in the fact that I learned one of the big things. Shamans are worldwide with every indigenous tribe. There's Russian shamans, there's Italian shamans, there are Irish shamans, they're everywhere. American Indians, South American, and they do a lot of rituals, and they are the healers both for spiritual and physical ailments for their tribe. And I learned so much, and I was really blessed to find out from them when I was down there that I, too, was a shaman, and that the reason that I'd been incarnated was to bring this information back to my world, back to the Western world, and help them to understand it. So not something I'm going to do overnight.
Yeah.
But that's why I do what I do. So, yes, it was a tremendous experience working with them.
Interesting.
Yeah. And, a lot of the things that they do, I asked them at one point, I said, I saw the guy down in the shaman down in the Amazon do the same thing as you, and I'm talking to the shaman up in the Andes, and I said, how is it that you two are doing the same thing? You're thousands of miles apart, no telephones. And he looked at me and said, I said, oh, you're connected into the same source. And he just smiled at me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
That is so interesting. Now, are there any, like, when it comes to shamans, are there different types of shamans? I mean, are they, do they, you know what I mean? Do they do the same thing, or are there ones that are higher than the others, or?
Oh, I don't know that there's necessarily a hierarchy of shamans.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, there will be some differences from one tribe to another. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But again, they are, again, it's the modern, there's so many modern shamans, and I'm sure you yourself are among them here in the U.S. that are here, that we are here to be healers for everyone that we know. How can we help heal this planet and make it a better place to live?
Yeah.
So, but do I think some are just, as with anything, I think some people are more gifted than others. Some people are better at math, some people are better at artwork. And you have some shamans that are more gifted than others? Yes. But
yeah.
Go ahead.
I was just asking because I know that, and I don't know because I haven't researched this, but I had someone tell me that with shamans there's, and I don't know the correct terms, something about naguals and teguals. Have you ever heard that?
No, I'm sorry. I really don't know about that.
Interesting.
I can't help you there.
Okay, no, well then I won't go there because I have no clue either.
No, I really don't. Like I said, you have to realize everything that I did with the shamans in both places was through interpreters because they don't speak English.
Yeah.
So, it's not, and they would not, because they are truly, they only know their tribe and who they are, because we're talking, this really is the way we got in the Amazon to where the tribe lived was on hollowed out boats, on canoes were hollowed out of a tree, and where the guys stand with the poles and hit the rapids and stuff. So this is not some place that you would go for a vacation. So, and they have never been exposed to Western world except for those of us that have been to their village.
Interesting. So how did they, what did you learn from them?
Again, it was listening and, again, really coming in touch with Source, because that's what they do. Shamans use ritual, and I asked about that. One of the things that really made a difference to me, they use rituals when they do their healings and stuff. And I said, if everything is, the only thing that's real is thought and intention, why do you do rituals? And they said, oh, good question. And they said, whether we believe that this physical world, the chair that I'm sitting in and the door that's next to me, if that's real, and then all of the stuff that we do is not real, or the other is true, that all of the intuitive things that we do, that's the real world and this is the illusion. He said, either way, if you take the thought and intent and you take a physical action with it and you bring the two together, it makes it more real in this world. It makes it take better, if you will. So there are a number of rituals that I still do to this day, and that I train people to do to help protect themselves and remove bad energy and the rest of that. And a lot of that was through them.
Very interesting.
Although Doreen got a number of rituals also.
Oh, really? Huh.
Yeah.
I was looking through your material and everything I read about you, and you are a spiritual teacher and a healer. So, as a teacher to your students, how do you know what to teach your students, or do you actually have like a lesson plan, and do you follow like a regular teacher, or is it in your world, is it different?
Okay. Some yes, some no. There's two answers to that question. I have workshops, okay? I do workshops. And in the workshops, first of all, there's a Monday night that's every Monday night. And those are visualizations. And then we share what we got with the visualizations. I'll do a visualization bringing in one or more of the archangels. And then we share what we got. And then we actually practice doing healings and readings for each other. And the whole thing is, it's not about being in your brain. When people actually get to be in the energy and use it and actually do it. And we have people that are longtime healers and people that are brand new, so everybody gets a chance. And so I do the workshops, and then but the big workshops, the Angels 101, and then the Angels Talk Louder, which is Angels Talk Louder. You have to have a previous one because they get more and more interactive and more energy. And if the person tried to take the last one without taking the first one, they would be so lost that it wouldn't be beneficial to them. So those kind of things. Like my whole thing is always staying in contact. The more you can practice doing it and getting out of the way, getting out of your brain, the better you get. So meditations and visualizations are a really good way to stay in contact with the angels. And I strongly suggest that people do audio meditations. I have them on my website, but you can get them everywhere, and you will find you resonate with certain people and how they do the visualizations and how great you can feel after you do a single visualization. And you do that on a regular basis, and it can start changing your life.
Interesting. So this is a way of getting people out of their heads and into a higher realm to be able to speak to the angels.
I have people, and this is really true, I have a lady that I absolutely love, and the first time she came to me for a reading, she came with her sister, and when she left, she told her sister, that woman's out of her mind. And now, a year later, and she came back, obviously, and she has been to for the last couple of years, come to my Monday night classes. She started a new job where she can't be here every Monday night. And she has taken every single other class, be it pendulum, be it all the different ways, psychometry, all of the ways, and she calls on angels all day long, and she has now become a Reiki master. But even with that, even with healing, if you call in the angels first before you use whatever healing modality you do, it'll be stronger and better. I'm a Reiki master. I do theta, and I do healing touch, and I do, but those are all just different modalities to do the same work. The first thing I do is I call in Archangel Raphael, who is the healing archangel, and whatever other archangels I need to really intensify and make the healing that much more powerful. So, yes, like I said, even it's about calling in the angels all day long to find anything from a parking place to finding resolution on a problem that you're having with somebody at the office. They can give you answers on all.
So you don't think the angel's going to say to you, like, excuse me, but a parking place, find a parking spot? Really? Are you going to call me for that?
No, there's nothing too small, and they can be working with many people in many places of the world at the same time. But there's not. My husband will even go to me when we're in the car. He'll say, "Did you do that parking karma thing that you do?" And it's like, because I have to ask. If I don't ask, but if I do ask, I can have a parking place even during the holidays in a mall within 4 places from the front door that I want to go in. It happens all the time, every time, because that's easy for them.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I was just going to say that I know that your teachings, because I went to your classes, and so much of what you're saying, it resonates with me, and I believe in. So let me ask you, because I don't know the answer to this question, but do certain angels work with the different chakras of the body? Do you know?
Yes, and okay. Now here's where you go into the study thing. Depending upon who you read, depends upon who you think is connected with which chakra, which archangel. And I've gone into meditation. I asked them, I said, okay, so which one of you are connected with which? And they said, does it really make a difference? It doesn't make a difference to us. Just know that we are all there to help and call in whoever you need. Because if I tell you which archangels are connected with which chakra, you will find 2 other places in your research that will disagree with me and that will have other archangels. And I've asked them about that. I said, so how many archangels are there really? I've got 15 basic ones. I said, how many are there really? And they just giggle at me. They said, you can't wrap your head around the numbers. You humans are so much into numbers and hierarchies. There is not a hierarchy. There are billions upon billions. They're everywhere, and they're all here to help. You just can't wrap your head around the numbers. And there's other light workers from the universe, too, that are in to help. And we don't consider ourselves better or worse than. We're all working for the same source, for that, what we call love, what is love, that state of being. They're all working for the same guy, the same source. So it's not about being better than or worse than. They said if you needed a plumber, you wouldn't call a doctor. You know?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not about being better or worse. It's like we all have different jobs and we can all help.
Wow. Well, thank you for answering that, because I wasn't exactly sure, and that would make sense to me, because and the reason I was asking is because I hear different psychics and different people in our walks of life that always mention certain archangels working, but they're always working in different areas, so that makes total sense to me the way you explained it.
Yes, and they all have different jobs.
Your audio meditation that people can go to your website and look up, are they... do you use them for certain ways of meditating, or like are they guided meditations? Some are just music. Can you tell us a little about what you have to offer?
They are all guided meditations, and two of my favorites are the really, really short ones. They're only like $3 a piece. But the reason they're my favorites because one is a chakra clearing and protection, and the other one is tapping into the universal river, which is where you get your answers. Each one of those meditations separately is about 6 to 8 minutes. So keeping your chakras clear, your energy centers in your body, so that you can get information regularly, easily, you can listen to that while you're getting ready for work in the morning. You know? And so it doesn't take, many people don't have 25 minutes to listen to the other ones. The other ones are like getting 3 meditations in one because of all of the things that you get in the process of going into your sacred space and doing the meditation and the prayers. But the really short ones, it's something that everybody could do every day, and you don't have it doesn't have to be hard. And it is a great way to stay in contact with divine guidance.
Right. And I think that resonates with a lot of people because we're all in a rush and we want everything yesterday, so probably the little short meditations would help everyone.
Yeah. The other ones I call in different archangels for different reasons. You might want to go to Uriel's scroll room to find out what your life path is supposed to be, or maybe you need Raphael's healing, or there's different ones. There's all different types to go. But my next goal is to start creating a few more short ones that people can do on a regular basis, even when they're pressed for time.
Right. And what are the differences between, because again, in reviewing your information, you talk about affirmations. Can you tell everyone what the difference is between meditations and affirmations?
Okay. Meditations, visualizations, and affirmations. What I do is a guided meditation. It's a visualization where you visualize, whereas the strict meditation is emptying your head of all thought. Visualizations guide you through a whole process, and you do get to think. You get to visualize things. Affirmations are written positive statements said in the present positive way. So affirmations are really good things to keep around you at all. You know, it's like one of the things I say for the highest and best of all concerned. I add that to the end of each prayer that I say. You know, can I do this for the highest and best of all concerned? Because sometimes what I think is best is not necessarily the best. Let it be the best for everyone that's concerned with this. Affirmations are great to keep around because they keep you positive. And they're different than the visualizations in which you are guided and you just get quiet and you listen. But affirmations are written things that you can put everywhere, and I do have them everywhere.
I do. Yeah, I agree with that. I also use affirmations. Your tools that you kind of mentioned some tools that I want to educate the listeners on. Psychometry. What does that mean, and how do you use psychometry?
Psychometry is the energy you get when you touch an item. Everything has energy. So when I give a class on psychometry, we'll use different things. Metal does conduct energy pretty well. So if you can hold an item from, like, for instance, a ring or a key or something that somebody used a lot and it has a lot of their energy on it, you can actually get information from the item. And also, even with pictures, you'll have psychics and stuff that use photographs, and they'll hold them and they'll actually feel the energy coming through the picture. Psychometry is a good way to get information. It's just a tool. There's all kinds of tools that you can use. Mm-hmm. Same thing for pendulums. Pendulums, you can use a pendulum and learn how to use it so you can get more than just yes-no answers. But again, in anything you do, be it psychometry or pendulums, the very first thing I always do is call in the angels to make sure that what you're getting, divine information, isn't from whomever. I don't want information from a lot of the stuff that's on the other side. I want to be really clear. And so learning it from anybody is great, but always calling in the angels first to protect you and to guide you. And Michael, by the way, Archangel Michael is the head of all the archangels. When in doubt, call on him and have his protection come over you.
Interesting. Yeah. And so that would go true for tarot card readings or any other type of reading that you do.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because they're all tools, and they're great ways to get information and to get confirmation on. You might be thinking something, and then you can use tarot cards, or you can use a pendulum to confirm what you just got, and that's great. But no matter what healing, no matter what tool you're using, always call in the angels first.
Call in the angels.
And you will be guided and protected to get exactly what you need.
Wow, that's wonderful. What happens whenever? And let me ask you: have you ever gone into a certain place or a house or something, and you felt or you knew there was evil there?
Actually, yes, I have. And sometimes it isn't always evil. I have done house clearings of energy, stuck energy, and where people haven't crossed over. Rarely is there really true evil. I mean, where we're talking demons and stuff like that. That is not my scope. I have once felt that if anyone asked me to do an exorcism, I personally would say no. Go find someone who specializes in that, a priest that specializes in that, or someone else. Because it's so rare that you actually have a demon or that kind of energy, that really maleficent kind of energy. That's very, very rare. But if it is there, that is not what I do. I am not an expert at that, and I will admit that freely. Then you need an expert to deal with that. But mostly it's people that when you go into a home or a place that has, and I've even done it in a business where somebody got stuck there. They were worried in this particular case. It was a legal office, and the person that got stuck there was a lady who had been separated from her child, and she was still looking for the child, et cetera. That was it. But once she finally got that everything was okay, she could move on. That's a different step. I can help people move on that are supposed to do that, because Michael will come in and help me with that. But like I said, as far as the really evil energy, I don't even go anywhere near it. I immediately surround myself with protection and have Michael stand guard until somebody can take care of it.
Yeah, take care. Yeah, absolutely. Well, that is very interesting. And Mary Jo, I just wanted to really, really thank you for coming on the show with us. We're about out of time, but I do want to remind everyone that you can get more information about Mary Jo at www.angelstalk.com. Her website has a lot more information, or you can like her on Facebook, Angels Talk, Angels Talk to You, the number 2 and the letter U. That's Angels Talk to You. You are listening to Healing from Within with Tony Valen. And Mary Jo, did you want to add anything else?
No, just angel blessings to everybody that's listening. Please keep them calling in. You'll be surprised at how you'll be wondered at how automagical things go.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, and everyone, have a great week.
Thanks.